Yeah, besides my sisters who went to the Loft, the Paradise Garage, and all these clubs and brought this music home that I loved that I never heard because it wasn't on the radio. You know, it was the neighborhood. You know, I came from the South Bronx, so there was a lot of my friend's older brother. Let's say he had a lot of break beats. So you know, you go to the block parties and watch the DJs, and you know, you want to do what they do. You know, you get inspired. And I was trying to extend those breaks, you know. Then I had another neighbor who had a big disco collection. So I used to go to his place and borrow his turntables and had 2 crates of vinyl and just practice and listen to all the breaks and, you know, where the intros, everything of the songs, and just mixing them. So just started doing neighborhood parties and grew from there. You know? But those are the inspirations, and of course, I live right where Africa Bambaataa, Jazzy J, Red Alert were throwing parties, all the break dances and everything, and it was actually Jazzy J who took me under his wing and heard one of my mixtapes.
It seemed to me, I remember first, I mean, you wouldn't, you know, the hip-hop world of today doesn't cross over much with our world. I mean, I guess it does in the David Guetta level, and obviously Drake's now cut a record with Black Coffee, but the worlds are quite different. Back then in New York in the late 80s, New Music Seminar, everybody was a little bit closer together, weren't they?
Yeah, there was no boundaries, you know. Everybody partied together, they went to the club. Like I said, you know, we came up on playing all spectrums, you know, so it bobbed and weaved, and the night grew, and it was breathing, and you broke things down, and then you took a break, and then you played different styles. So it was there, you know. So yeah, we did mesh, you know. Also hip hop meshed with a lot of the alternative stuff and the punk scene, and you know, so those elements came into play as well too, you know. And all the music just gelled, you know.
I mean, Todd Terry, legendary figure, has been involved in the IMS before. I mean, a mentor of yours. What did he teach you back in the day? What do you think the big takeaway you got from working with Todd at the beginning?
It was just a drum machine, you know what I mean? How to take nothing and make something out of it, you know.
What was his kind of weapon of choice?
At first he had a Casio RZ1, and each pad sampled 1 second. So imagine that, right? 1 second. So, and then he had a Korg sampler that sampled 4 seconds. So Black Riot, like all those huge records were made on these 2 pieces of equipment with a keyboard. And a PA mixer, the knobs were missing because he found it in the garbage, you know what I'm saying, pretty much, and that's what he had. But those records had a sound, sonically. He figured out a way how to make the best of it. So me being around and actually cutting school to go to his house and watch him work, I picked up on that stuff. So when I got my hands on the SB1200, we had more seconds, you know what I mean? There was 3.5 seconds per pad instead of 1 second. So, you know, you had to make do. You sped up the records to get more time into the machine, and you got busy that way. But that's the core thing, and that always stood with me, you know what I mean? And then I took that when we worked together on all our stuff, and then till now, you know, till now I still use the same head, you know, the same concept, you know.
Fascinating. And for you, was there who was your mentor, you think? I mean, the other thing that strikes me, I mean, it was quite hard to make music and DJ back in the 80s. It was expensive. I mean, you talk about primitive equipment.
No, we're talking about, when I went into the studio, we're talking about $2-3 million studios. So, you know, here it is, kids, you know, we putting together equipment to try to make some tunes, you know what I mean? So, but it also gave us a sound because it was gritty, it was dirty. You know, nothing sounds like those records, you know.
It's quite hard to work in a partnership sometimes with kind of egos and taste. Did you two, was there a philosophy between you? Were there rules when you got together? Did you know when you first started making music together?
You know, I'm pretty easy to get along with. You know, when I met Kenny, we just hit it off. You know, we came into the studio. I mean, I had already been a big club DJ in New York. I played all the, you know, 2,500 to 4,000 people every Friday and Saturday between 85 and 90. So, you know, I started getting a lot of remixes, and it was more in the the freestyle world. It was Latin hip hop and freestyle music that I made over maybe 100, 150 records, something like that. And so by that time, I had already been seasoned in the studio. So when I got this album deal and Kenny came in, we just hit it off. I really invited him so that I could remix this record for him. And I went to his studio. It was just a little room with the Akai, right?
A lot of records. Yeah.
Tons of records, but these like 3 pieces. And it was right there that we just got together and it started from there. And when we went into the studio is when we really got acquainted with each other. So it was really easy. I mean, he would listen to me, I would listen to him, and then if I felt strongly about something, he would follow it. Same on the other side, if he felt strongly about something.
I think the most important thing to answer your question, though, is we came up and said, look, if you don't like something, no questions asked, erase it, let's move on. Same thing, vice versa. If I'm not going to take it to heart, let's move on. Let's make the best possible record or whatever we're working on as we can. And that was it, and then we stuck by it.
Yeah, there was a lot of trust, you know what I'm saying? If he came up, and there was a lot of complimenting, because I played keyboards on a lot of the early Masters at Work records from 90 to 96, a lot of those dubs, and Kenny was doing the beats. So when we worked together, it was like he was on a drum machine, I was on a keyboard. I played a bass line, I played chord progression, and we had a groove. He may have come up with a syncopated beat and I would follow that. So, it really worked well when we were together in the studios. And we used to do a lot of product in like one night. We could do like 4 or 5 tracks very easy.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that because just researching it a bit before I sat down and talked to you today. I mean, something happened. I don't know whether you discovered Red Bull before it got invented around 1992, 93, but your discography is just insane. Particularly in '93, because not only is Masters at Work like really arriving as a brand, people didn't really use that word back then. But then you've got all these other things going on. I mean, you had so many names. All the tracks on Cutting and Strictly and Tommy Boy. And what were you thinking? What was the thought process then in creating all these different identities?
Well, it was a great time because after I had done all the clubs from 85 to 90, I took a break from freestyle music because I had just felt I went as far as I could go with the music and I wanted to make a lot of house music. So at the same time, I was mixing a lot of Todd Terry's records. And if you look at his early credits, you'll see a lot of records mixed by LOUIE VEGA, whatever. And he said, look, I'm doing so much music, I need help to just mix these records and get them out. So I said, I'll mix them, sure, I love his music. So I was doing a lot of that, but then I said, I want to make some house records, And I met Kenny right at the right time, and by that time, when I had left the freestyle, the big clubs in New York doing that, I wanted to do more of what Kenny and I were doing in the clubs. And that's when I met Don Welch and Barbara Tucker, who were throwing parties in New York, and we started together doing a few parties, and we ended up at the Sound Factory Bar, which was a seminal club in New York City that Frankie Knuckles also played at, may he rest in peace. He played on Fridays, I played on Wednesdays. So we had that club there, and at the same time we're making all these records, we're playing all these records freshly made out of the studio. Next thing you know, the club was packed. There was a lot going on with music at that time, with house music. We were really vibrant. We were so inspired. I mean, I would make records with Kenny and call Gladys Pizarro, who was at Strictly Rhythm, and Michael Weiss, who owns Nervous Records, at 4 in the morning and say, yo, who likes this record? And to this day, like Michael Weiss still says, yo, I'm so upset I passed on Beautiful People by Barbara Tucker.
At 4 in the morning.
That's what we would do. We would just call them. Everybody in New York was really excited. And you had in one club, in our club where we were at every week, it was, of course, Kenny Todd, Armand Van Helden, Eric Murillo. I mean, it was the cream of the crop of New York City, hanging out, making records, bringing it into us to play. And then,
they'd almost call it like a singer's, like you had a music maker's social club, basically. So much has been written and said about